Madam Chair, we're ready to begin.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Professional Services Committee meeting for ALCOSAN. Today is November 14th, 2022. We'll begin today's meeting with the roll call. Ms. Prater?
Thank you. Representative Emily Kincaid,
Here.
Dr. Gilliam,
Present.
Sylvia Wilson,
Here. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on. Do we have any information items today, Ms. Williams?
We do not.
All right, thank you so much. We'll move now into our action items. Item A is a motion to approve the following short list for the Spring Garden Grid Management Project. And they are listed in alphabetical order, not in preference. It's the Remington and Vernick engineers, Whitney, Bailey, Cox, and Magnani, Wade Trim. Ms. Williams, you wanted to bring us up to date on all of this, please?
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I will bring you up to date on 75% of the agenda by sharing that today I affectionately refer to this as the Mike Lichta Show because 3 of the 4 items are related to projects that are under the direction of the Regional Conveyance Division. This first project gives us an opportunity to once again highlight some of the deleterious impacts of streams coming into the system. It's not something we've talked about recently, but it continues to be a huge issue. As you can imagine, clean water or relatively clean water coming into a wastewater system does have negative impacts, but it's not just the water, it's what it brings with it. With that, Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you, Arletta, Madam Chair. Spring Garden, it's a relatively large 1,300 acre combined sewer shed. It discharges near the Heinz plant out of an 108 inch combined sewer. In the upper reaches, as Arletta stated, there's a direct stream inflow that contributes a lot of sediment over the years. And we've seen it in our sonar investigations. We get a lot of sediment at this location into our deep tunnel system. Given the complexities and the difficulties getting this sediment out of the deep tunnel system, once it gets in there, it's in our interest to keep it out before it gets into the deep tunnel system. So in that light, we've been working actively, or shall I say, Gene's been working actively with the Corps of Engineers to receive funding for this project under Section 313. Now, thanks to Gene, we were notified this year that we've received approximately $3.3 million in funding to construct up to 2 grit chambers in this sewer shed to capture grit and sediment. So in this project, as it's currently set up, we would initiate the design and let the construction, and we would be reimbursed by the Corps of Engineers. So we sent out a request for quals in September, and we received 3 submittal packages back from consultants, one from RVE, WBCM, and one from Wade Trim. We reviewed those internally, and we were happy to say that all those firms were capable of performing the work. So our recommendation is to recommend all 3 firms receive RFPs.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from our board members?
None for me.
Okay. All right, hearing none, could I have a motion and a second to approve, please?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion is approved. Item B is a motion to approve the following short list for the regional conveyance valve replacement contracts, again in alphabetical order, not in preference. Arcadis, Cosmos Technologies, and GAI. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, while the title of the contract is specific to valve replacement, it is a much broader piece of work. And again, I will turn to the Director of Regional Conveyance. Michael, please.
Thank you, Arletta, Madam Chair. Interceptor Maintenance earlier this year asked us to undertake a condition assessment of a number of sluice gates and stop logs and flap gates in our system. Some of this was prompted by some of the difficulties operating the gates during our recent lining project out in Sawmill Run. So we had the conversation with Nate Carl and Matt Jakubowski, and we decided we need to take a better look at some of these gates for potential reuse or reconstruction. They also need a number of stop logs. These are logs that are placed in log channels that allow us to conduct maintenance while we're servicing the regional conveyance diversion structures. So there's a lot of gates on this project that need to be evaluated and or assessed. Some of them are in fairly poor shape. Many of the stop logs are reached their useful life, so they need to be replaced. So again, in September, we sent out a request for qualifications. Similarly to the GRIT project, we received 3 responses, one from Arcadis, one from our Cosmos, and one for GAI. We reviewed these internally, and we found all firms capable of performing the work. So our recommendation is that all 3 firms be allowed to receive an RFP.
Okay, thank you. All right, questions or comments, board members?
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's been approved. Item C, motion to recommend a service authorization to ADS for an amount not to exceed $2,100,000 to perform the scope of services for capital project S477, which is on-call wastewater flow monitoring services. Ms. Williams.
Chair, this is a contract that the board awarded at last month's meeting. We're bringing the fee back. The fee is in line with our expectation because it is such an important project. I've asked Mike to talk a little about it, even though we did address it again at last month's public session. Mike,
Sure.
please.
Thank you, Arletta, Madam Chair. We do a lot of flow monitoring at ALCOSAN. It's used to support a number of programs. It was used to develop and support our clean water plan development back in 2008. We had a program of roughly 550 meters. This authorization is primarily to support ongoing operations associated with flow monitoring. We do have a in-house capability. Although that capability is somewhat steady and consistent, this is a supplemental capability or need to do additional monitoring, such as to support the Ohio River Tunnel final design. It is used in many of the regionalization sheds. We work with the municipalities to troubleshoot problems. And we also do nighttime flow isolation to assess the performance of grow projects and stream inflow projects. So there's additional capabilities that are needed to support the overall regional and ALCOSAN program with regards to flow monitoring. This procurement is for 3 years. The budget for this work originally was $2.2 million. Tim Prevost negotiated this contract down to around $2.1 million. A lot of these tasks, I want to let the board know that they're broken out by unit costs. We have approximately 800 meter months of data from ADS, which we have a unit price for that, as well as we have a price per flow isolation unit. We have a price for site investigation. So it was pretty well negotiated, and it's much in line with the prior procurement that was done in 2018 and the two additional years that were 2021 and 2022. So we pretty much have the unit costing down on this, and it's pretty consistent with the prior contracts, and we would recommend award.
All right, thank you. Board members?
No questions here.
Okay,
Motion
thanks.
to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. This one will be recommended to the board as well. Item D is a motion to recommend the awarding of the solids thickening and dewatering improvements project under capital project S-463 to CDM Smith and to authorize the executive director to negotiate a fee. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, this contract addresses what I find to be one of the most fascinating portions of the operation. It's not for the faint of heart, not at all. And it is crucial to the overall operation of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to think of it as plumping up the poop. That will stay with you forever. I will be long gone, and none of you will forget this, especially Douglas. And because Director Kennedy couldn't be left out, and she just can't stop spending money. Kim, explain it.
I mean, what more can I say? So we did shortlist this back in September. And then right after the shortlist, we distributed the RFP and we received these proposals on October 21st. So we've had a little bit of time to look at them and review them. We do recommend CDM Smith. They had a very relevant project experience and a well thought out project delivery work plan. The one thing about this project is that it's very equipment heavy with the new dewatering centrifuges and the new thickening centrifuges. So we would look to put out a procurement for just the centrifuge equipment next year so that because it takes so long to get here, it'll be here in time for we'll be ready for it with the construction. So we wouldn't award the construction until after we awarded the procurement of the centrifuges, just because it takes about a year and a half for them to come in and that, is before everything slowed down. So we certainly are excited about asking you to recommend this award and moving forward with the next plant expansion project and getting it into design.
Okay, all right, thank you. I don't think there's any questions or comments on this one. We certainly need to know.
I would like
a whole bunch more about pumping up poop, but go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to like get some visuals on the poop plumping process.
We will have that available for you. I think up close and personal is always best.
Yeah, now see, when you said centrifuge, that was enough for me. Because I know what happens in a centrifuge. So that was clear enough picture for me though. That's all right with me.
Well, I guess since the chairwoman is satisfied, you can keep your visuals, and I don't necessarily have to have one this round.
She may want. I'm not, and I don't want to deny you the thrill of seeing such things. No, she can still Get you some visuals.
Clearly, we're gonna need this for the next board meeting. You
Got
know.
it.
This might violate the
I would
terms of
never-
service for YouTube if we put this type of
I
material
would never want the whole board to
online,
be out of
so
it.
let's cautious of that one.
Okay. Anyway, could I have a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. This has been, all four of these items will be recommended to the board at our board meeting next week for approval. Yeah, it's next week. Yeah, next week. Next week. Or is it this
Is
week?
it
I'm
Thursday?
losing my days. This week. This week.
This
Next week is, yeah, next week is Thanksgiving, so it's this week. It's this
No,
week.
no poop plumping on Thanksgiving. It gets
No,
ugly.
absolutely not. Don't, that just takes away everything. Absolutely. Okay.
Literally.
Yes, it surely does. All right. Ms. Williams, is there any new business for us to listen to today?
I don't think there is anything else we can possibly talk about at this point. Thank
And
you,
then
Madam
possibly
Chair.
finding some visuals. So I'm finding some visuals. That's about it. Okay. All right, then we're going to call this meeting to an end. Our next professional services committee will be held on December 1st. All right. Thank you, everybody, for putting all information together, and we'll see you and talk with you